Good morning, folks. This weekend is the 33rd Sunday of the year. We're almost only one more Sunday, and then we come to the end of the liturgical year, and then we start all over again with the Gospel of St. Matthew. But this weekend is the Gospel reading is somewhat scary because it's concerned with what we call the end things, and it's even more scary. Luke's one isn't too scary, but the version in Mark, which is Mark, I think it's chapter 13, it's a little bit longer and a little bit more direct. But I can recall when I was quite young, hearing this gospel reading on Sunday, and but before this happens, they will seize and persecute you. They will hand you over to synagogues and prisons, etc., etc. When I used to hear that stuff, I was scared by it, and I suppose, and maybe rightly so. But it's only as you get older, and you begin to appreciate what it's really saying. It just you make some sense out of it. The bottom line, of course, is that this. They call it the Apocalypse of St. Luke, referring to that last things. It's what we call apocalyptic literature. And really it's the reading, to appreciate it, it's really talking about two things. It's talking about the end briefly, but it's also talking about the present. The present at that stage, of course, meaning about the year 70 to about a couple of 200 AD, and that is it was a very tumultuous time. First of all, in the year 70, you had the destruction of the Jerusalem temple by the Romans, and they were besieged for 9 months. So it was just again very 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 difficult and very scary kind of stuff. But that was sort of the Jews being threatened by the Romans. But then what you find is soon after that, from about the year 75 onwards, that you have the great sort of Christian persecution from that time up until the conversion of the emperor, actually, in the year 315, when the emperor was baptized. But for those couple of centuries, the persecution was ongoing, and it was very very severe. So many people there's so many martyrs, so many people were put to death during that period. So actually, in this reading, it's talking about that period of time quite a bit, and it's also talking about the end of the talking about the present and the future. Two things were sort of confused together. So sometimes it's difficult to figure out what is the reading really talking about. But with regard to the end, basically what it's saying is that the end will occur. That is, Jesus came among us the first time at the time of the incarnation, where he came into the earth. But then he promised that he will come again. He will come again at the end of time. So of course the question then is, and that the end of time will be a time of persecution, a time of struggle, time of difficulty. And of course the big question then, and it's come up time and again over the years, when will that time occur? And what you find is that over the last several number of years, 50 in my lifetime anyhow, at different stages there are different groups of Christians, mostly fundamentalist Christians, who said, well, the end of the world is going to come at a certain point in time, because, and they would have all kind of justification as to why it's going to occur. There were also, the year 2000 was the year that there was a group of people who said that the world was going to come to an end in the year 2000, and of course it didn't happen. But around that time also, there were a whole lot of books written by fundamentalist Christians, and they could give you plenty of justification in terms of their reasoning, most of it emerging from the book of the Apocalypse or the book of Revelation, which was being misread and misinterpreted, but time and again basically came to the conclusion that they knew when the world was going to occur, whereas the end of the world was going to occur. But really, what Jesus is saying, I think, in this reading, that the end will occur, but nobody knows. Nobody knows, and when you read the text, you'll see that in it yourself. That nobody knows when it will occur, and that it will be a tumultuous time, and it will be a scary time as far as people are concerned. But basically, what he says, even though that will happen, if you are faithful and if you're living your faith and hanging on to the faith, then there is no reason to be afraid, no reason to be discouraged. So I suppose that the message, the overall message in it is that the end of the world will occur, and it will be a very, very challenging and difficult time. But if you're faithful to your own commitment, to your own Catholic faith, then all will be well. There is no reason to fear what's going to happen. That's about it. Thank you, and it's a good reading for Sunday. It's good for you to read it in advance yourself and see how you interpret it. Thank you.